I never imagined my engagement would end over a prenuptial agreement, but looking back, it was the best decision of my life. I am Xavier, a 35-year-old tech entrepreneur from Chicago who built my company from nothing into a multi-million-dollar business. When I met Amanda at that charity gala, her intelligence and charm captivated me instantly. After 18 months of what I thought was perfect love, I proposed. But when I mentioned protecting our financial futures, everything changed. Before I tell you how my perfect relationship crumbled overnight, let me know where you are watching from today. Hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments about whether prenups are romance killers or just smart planning. Growing up in a middle-class neighborhood on the south side of Chicago taught me the value of hard work. My parents were public school teachers who stretched every dollar and instilled in me a deep respect for financial stability. They sacrificed to put me through college, and I promised myself I would make their efforts worthwhile. By 25, I had launched my tech startup focused on cybersecurity solutions. The early years were brutal. I worked 16-hour days, reinvested every penny of profit, and lived in a tiny studio apartment to keep costs down. After 5 years of grinding, my company finally secured major contracts with several Fortune 500 corporations. Suddenly, I found myself at the helm of a rapidly growing business valued at over $20 million. This success came with painful lessons. During those early struggling years, I had a 2-year relationship with Natalie. She lived with me in that cramped studio and witnessed my daily struggles. When we broke up, she stunned me by claiming she deserved a portion of my business because she had supported me emotionally. The legal battle was ugly, expensive, and ultimately unnecessary. Though I prevailed, the experience left me wary about mixing love and finances without clear boundaries. Fast forward 3 years. My business had expanded internationally, and I had moved into a luxury downtown apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Life was good, but something was missing. That changed the night I attended a charity gala for children with cancer. I spotted Amanda across the room, animatedly discussing something with an elderly couple. Her genuine laugh and the way she listened intently struck me immediately. She wore a simple black dress, nothing flashy, but her confidence made her shine brighter than anyone else there. When our eyes met, I felt that rare, instant connection. Amanda was 29, worked as a marketing executive, and possessed the perfect blend of intelligence, ambition, and warmth. Our first date stretched from coffee to dinner to a midnight walk along the lakefront. Conversation flowed effortlessly as we discovered shared passions for travel, independent films, and Italian food. Over the next year and a half, we built what I believed was the foundation for a lifetime together. We traveled to Portugal, Japan, and Costa Rica. We spent weekends hiking with my golden retriever, Jackson. She got along wonderfully with my parents and became close with my sister. I adored her creativity, her spontaneity, and the way she could make friends with anyone. 10 months into our relationship, Amanda moved into my apartment. This transition happened smoothly, though I noticed she brought surprisingly few possessions for someone her age. She explained she preferred starting fresh and gradually acquiring things that reflected our shared taste. I found this charming at the time. During this period, my business continued its upward trajectory. I secured 2 patents for innovative security protocols and opened offices in London and Singapore. Amanda celebrated every milestone with me, seeming genuinely proud of my accomplishments. After 18 months together, I was certain she was the one. I planned an elaborate proposal during our vacation to Big Sur, California. On a cliff overlooking the Pacific at sunset, I got down on one knee and offered her a 3-carat diamond ring. Her joyful tears and emphatic yes made me feel like the luckiest man alive. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of excitement. We announced our engagement to friends and family, selected a date for the following summer, and began researching venues. Amanda threw herself into wedding planning with remarkable enthusiasm, creating elaborate Pinterest boards and scheduling appointments with top-tier vendors. It was around this time that I began noticing subtle shifts in her behavior. The woman who once seemed content with simple pleasures suddenly developed expensive tastes. She replaced her modest wardrobe with designer clothes and started getting weekly manicures at high-end salons. When I gently inquired about these changes, she brushed it off, saying she wanted to look her best as the future wife of a successful businessman. More concerning were her comments about our financial future. She began referring to my penthouse as our permanent home despite our previous discussions about eventually buying a house in the suburbs. She talked about quitting her marketing job to focus on starting a family immediately after the wedding, which contradicted her earlier 5-year career plan. When I brought up these inconsistencies, she accused me of not being excited about our life together. One evening after dinner with my lawyer friend Brian, I decided it was time to address the elephant in the room. Brian had casually mentioned the importance of prenuptial agreements for business owners, and his words resonated with my lingering concerns. The next morning I broached the subject with Amanda, over breakfast, framing it as a standard protection for someone in my position. Her response was troubling. She laughed, dismissively changed the subject, and left for work in a hurry. Each subsequent attempt to discuss the prenup met with similar evasion. She would say things like, "What matters is our love, not some paperwork," or "Let us focus on the wedding first. Legal stuff can wait." Despite these warning signs, I rationalized her reluctance as pre-wedding jitters. I convinced myself that once the stress of wedding planning subsided, we could have a rational conversation about financial planning. How wrong I was. The tension finally boiled over 3 months before our wedding date. I had specifically scheduled an evening to discuss the wedding budget and the prenuptial agreement. I prepared a simple spreadsheet detailing our wedding expenses thus far, and poured us each a glass of wine before she arrived home from work. Amanda walked in looking stunning in a new outfit I had never seen before. The price tag was still visible on the designer handbag she carelessly tossed onto the sofa. When I commented on her new purchases, she beamed and said I deserved to treat myself. Planning our perfect day is stressful. I took a deep breath and gestured toward the dining table where my laptop displayed our wedding budget. I've been tracking our expenses. We are already $15,000 over budget, and we still have major costs coming up, I explained gently. Her smile faltered. Why are you being so uptight about money? This is supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. I am not being uptight. I am being realistic. We agreed on a budget of $50,000, and we are already at $65,000, with the catering photographer and honeymoon still to finalize. She waved her hand dismissively. My parents added another $20,000 to their contribution. It is fine. This was news to me. You did not tell me they increased their contribution. Does it matter? It is all going to the same place. Our wedding. I decided to transition to the more important topic. While we are discussing finances, we need to talk about the prenup. I have been trying to bring this up for weeks and you keep avoiding it. Her expression darkened. Not this again. Yes, this again. It is important to me. I have built my business from nothing, and I need to protect it. I pulled out the document my lawyer had prepared. It is standard for someone in my position. It protects my business assets, while ensuring you are well taken care of if anything happens to our marriage. Amanda stared at the document without touching it. Then, to my shock, she laughed. Not a joyful laugh, but a cold, dismissive one that sent chills down my spine. You know what this says to me? That you are planning for our marriage to fail before it even begins. That you do not trust me. Is that how you want to start our life together, with distrust? That is not what this is about. I countered. This is about being practical. Many successful couples have prenups. It does not mean I expect us to fail. She stood up suddenly. If you loved me, truly loved me, you would not ask me to sign away my rights. I was bewildered. Rights to what? The prenup is fair. It protects my premarital assets, but splits everything we build together equally. What exactly are you expecting from this marriage? Her eyes flashed with anger. I am expecting a partnership, not to be treated like some gold digger you need protection from. I never called you a gold digger, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. I am simply being prudent about the business I spent 10 years building. She grabbed the prenup and waved it in my face. You either marry me as is, or not at all. Those are your choices. I was stunned by the ultimatum. That is not how partnerships work, Amanda. We should be able to discuss this rationally. There is nothing to discuss. She tossed the document onto the table. Call me when you decide what matters more. Your precious company, or me. With that, she grabbed her keys and stormed out. For the next 2 days, Amanda stayed with her friend Sarah. My calls and texts received minimal responses. When she finally returned to our apartment, she acted as if nothing had happened but maintained a cold distance. In the following weeks, I discovered several disturbing facts. Reviewing our joint credit card statements, I found Amanda had been spending thousands on luxury items, far more than her salary could support. She had secretly upgraded our wedding venue without consulting me, doubling our venue cost. She had booked a honeymoon villa in the Maldives that cost $20,000 per week, instead of the Maui trip we had agreed upon. I confronted her during dinner at her favorite restaurant, hoping the public setting would encourage civility. Amanda, we need to talk about these expenses. The new venue, the Maldives honeymoon. These were decisions we should have made together. She sipped her champagne casually. I found better options. You should be thanking me. Better options that cost twice as much, and that you did not discuss with me. She rolled her eyes. Is money really all you care about? We can afford it. It is not about affording it. It is about making decisions together, about respecting boundaries. Her voice took on an edge. The prenup again, I told you my conditions. I lowered my voice, and I find those conditions concerning. Marriage is about compromise, not ultimatums. The argument escalated until Amanda loudly stated, "Once we are married, what is yours is mine anyway. Why do we need a piece of paper saying otherwise?" Her words hit me like a truck. Is that how you see our marriage? As a way to access my assets? Do not be dramatic, Xavier. She signaled for the check. I am just saying the prenup is unnecessary and insulting. That night I could not sleep. I called my best friend Thomas the next day and shared my concerns. His response shook me. Man, Amanda has been complaining to everyone about how cheap you are. She told Jennifer you make her use her own money for personal stuff while you have millions in the bank. She makes it sound like you are controlling. That is completely false, I said, stunned. We have separate finances by mutual agreement, and I regularly treat her to expensive gifts and vacations. Thomas paused. There is something else. Jennifer overheard Amanda telling Sarah that once you are married, she plans to cut back to part-time work or quit entirely, regardless of what you discussed. She said, and I quote, "He will not be able to say no once we are married." As this information sank in, I realized the prenup disagreement was merely a symptom of a much deeper problem. This was about fundamentally different views on partnership, honesty, and mutual respect. That night I barely slept. By morning I had clarity. This was not the woman I wanted to spend my life with. Not because she wanted financial security, but because she sought it through manipulation rather than honest communication. When Amanda returned from her overnight stay at Sarah's apartment, I was sitting in our living room, calm and resolved. Have you come to your senses about this prenup nonsense? She asked, dropping her overnight bag on the floor. Actually, I wanted to ask you one more time clearly so there is no misunderstanding. Are you willing to discuss a fair prenuptial agreement that protects both of us? She put her hands on her hips. I have been clear. You either marry me as is, or not at all. Besides, she added with a smirk, what is yours is mine anyway once we say I do. That is how marriage works. I nodded slowly. Okay. She seemed surprised by my calm acceptance, mistaking it for surrender. Good. Now can we please focus on more important things? My final dress fitting is today, and we still need to finalize the menu selections. I watched her walk to the bedroom, already typing rapidly on her phone, probably texting her friends about her victory. In that moment I felt a strange combination of sadness and relief. The woman I had fallen in love with either never existed or had been replaced by someone I barely recognized. After she left for her dress fitting, I sprang into action. First, I called Marissa, our wedding planner. Hi, Marissa, this is Xavier Miller. I am canceling the wedding. All of it. Excuse me, is everything okay? No, it is not. The relationship is over. Please cancel all vendors immediately. I will cover any cancellation fees per our contract. Next, I methodically contacted every vendor personally. The venue, caterer, photographer, florist, band. With each call, the decision became more real, more final. Some were understanding, others less so, but all were ultimately professional. Then came the hardest calls. First to my parents. "Son, are you sure about this?" my father asked gently. "More sure than I was about proposing," I admitted. "Then you are doing the right thing." My mother's voice was firm. Better heartbreak now than a lifetime of regret. I spent the next hour packing Amanda's personal belongings. Clothes, jewelry, toiletries. I was careful to include only what she had brought into the relationship, setting aside the gifts I had given her, for her to decide about later. My phone rang. It was Amanda, her voice shrill with panic. "Xavier, where is everyone? I am at the bridal shop and no one from the wedding party is here. The shop owner said our appointment was canceled." "What is going on?" I took a deep breath. "I canceled the wedding, Amanda. All of it." Silence then. "What? Is this some kind of sick joke?" "No joke. I meant what I said earlier." "Okay, you cannot just cancel our wedding. We are getting married in 3 weeks. Not anymore. I have already called all the vendors. It is done." 20 minutes later, she burst through our apartment door, mascara streaking down her face, still wearing the sample veil from the bridal shop. "What have you done?" she screamed. "You have ruined everything." I remained seated calm in the face of her fury. I made a decision. The same one you gave me with your ultimatum. You said marry you as is or not at all. I choose not at all. You cannot do this. What about all our plans? What will people think? I stood up. I do not care what people think. I care about entering a marriage based on trust and mutual respect. Our relationship lacks both. You have been making major financial decisions without consulting me. You have been discussing our private matters with friends, painting me as controlling and cheap. You see marriage as a way to access my assets rather than a partnership. Her expression shifted from rage to calculation. This is all a misunderstanding. We can work this out. I will sign your stupid prenup. It is too late. This is not about the prenup anymore. It is about who you have revealed yourself to be. I cannot marry someone who issues ultimatums instead of working through problems together. She changed tactics, tears flowing. "I love you. Please do not do this." I might have believed her 2 months ago. Now I saw the manipulation behind the tears. "I have packed your things," I said, gesturing to the suitcases by the door. "You can arrange to get the rest later. The apartment keys are on top. You will regret this." She hissed, her tears instantly drying. "My lawyer will contact you about all the money I spent on this wedding." I smiled sadly. "All expenditures are documented. You made most of them without my consent, often hiding the true costs. I do not think your lawyer will advise pursuing this." She grabbed her suitcases, hands shaking with anger. "This is not over." "Actually it is," I replied. "I will have the locks changed tomorrow. Please leave your keys." After she left, the apartment felt eerily quiet. I sat on the sofa, emotionally exhausted but strangely unburdened. For the first time in months, I could breathe freely. I had stood up for myself, for my values, for my future. The pain was real, but so was the sense of having narrowly escaped a lifetime of manipulation and control. The weeks following the canceled wedding were challenging but clarifying. Some friends took sides, with a few suggesting I had overreacted. My groomsmen and closest friends stood firmly by me, especially after I shared the full story. To my surprise, even a couple of Amanda's friends reached out privately to say they understood my decision, hinting that they had seen concerning behavior from her as well. The financial cost of canceling was substantial. Between non-refundable deposits and cancellation fees, I lost nearly $30,000. I considered it an investment in my future happiness, a bargain compared to the potential cost of a divorce. The emotional aftermath proved more complex. Despite the clarity of my decision, I experienced waves of grief for the relationship I thought I had, for the future I had imagined. I questioned my judgment. How had I missed the red flags? Why had I proposed to someone without fully understanding their values around money and partnership? Seeking answers, I began working with a therapist specializing in relationship patterns. "Doctor, Marshall helped me recognize how Amanda's love bombing the practice of overwhelming someone with affection and attention to manipulate them had clouded my judgment in the early stages of our relationship. I thought I was protecting myself by being financially cautious, but I had neglected to protect my heart with equal diligence, I admitted during one session. We often guard against the dangers we have experienced before, while remaining vulnerable to new forms of harm, Dr. Marshall observed. This experience, painful as it is, will make you wiser. Gradually, I reclaimed my life. I refocused on my business, which had suffered from my distraction during the relationship drama. I reconnected with friends I had neglected. I renovated my apartment, replacing furniture Amanda had selected with pieces that better reflected my personal taste. 6 months after the canceled wedding, I experienced an unexpected moment of validation. Having dinner at a new restaurant downtown, I spotted Amanda across the room, sitting with an older man who appeared to be in his 60s. She was laughing and touching his arm in the same captivating way she had once touched mine. On her finger gleamed a diamond ring that dwarfed the one I had given her. 2 weeks later, my friend Jennifer called with gossip she could not contain. "Did you hear Amanda is engaged to Richard Tompkins, the real estate developer? He is 64 and worth hundreds of millions." It took less than 7 months. I noted without surprise. "She is telling everyone it was her decision to break up with you, that she realized you were too controlling." I laughed. Of course she is. With this final confirmation of Amanda's true character, the last lingering doubts about my decision vanished. I had not only dodged a bullet, I had escaped a guided missile, aimed directly at my assets and autonomy. As my business continued to thrive, I eventually felt ready to date again. This time I approached relationships with clearer boundaries and expectations. I was upfront about my values regarding money, partnership, and trust. Many potential relationships ended after a few dates because of this transparency, and I was fine with that. Better to discover incompatibility early than after years of investment. 8 months after the breakup, I met Jessica at a friend's dinner party. A 32-year-old architect with her own successful firm, she carried herself with genuine confidence rather than practiced charm. Our conversation that night focused on our shared love of mid-century architecture and international travel. Not once did she inquire about my financial status or make reference to my business success, despite clearly knowing who I was. Our relationship developed organically, without the whirlwind intensity that had characterized my time with Amanda. Jessica respected my space and maintained her own independence. When I brought up the topic of financial compatibility on our 5th date, she engaged thoughtfully rather than defensively. "I believe in separate accounts and a joint account for shared expenses," she said. "I have worked hard for my success and would expect a partner to respect that just as I would respect theirs." Her words were a balm to my wounded trust. 1 year after my canceled wedding, I found myself in a relationship built on genuine mutual respect and shared values. Jessica and I discussed everything openly, from career ambitions to family planning to financial goals. The contrast with my previous relationship could not have been more stark. Looking back, I realized the prenup disagreement with Amanda was the best thing that could have happened to me. It revealed fundamental incompatibilities before I legally bound myself to someone who viewed marriage as a financial strategy rather than a loving partnership. Had we married, the eventual divorce would have been far more painful and costly than the canceled wedding. The experience taught me that financial compatibility is just as important as emotional and physical compatibility in a relationship. It showed me that someone who truly loves you will not make ultimatums, but will work toward mutual understanding. Most importantly, it reminded me that I deserve a partner who values me for who I am, not for what I have. Sometimes the hardest decisions lead to the greatest growth. Standing my ground cost me a wedding but saved me from a marriage that would have slowly eroded my spirit and my success. In losing what I thought I wanted, I gained the clarity to recognize what I truly needed. If you find yourself facing a similar situation, remember that your intuition is often wiser than your hope. Red flags do not disappear with time. They only grow larger and more numerous. You deserve a relationship based on mutual respect, shared values, and open communication. Anything less is not worth the temporary comfort of compromise. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision that ultimately saved you from greater pain? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone else find the courage to choose long-term happiness over short-term comfort. If you found value in my experience, please subscribe to hear more real-life lessons and hit that like button to help others find this story. Thank you for listening. And remember, sometimes the bravest word in the English language is a simple, clear no.